Hello, everybody. This is week 1/2 or 2/3, depending on how you count the weeks. It's week 1/2 of in-game, and it's week 2/3 of us doing it because I labeled the preview as week 1 because I'm special. But I'm Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.
And yeah, we're going to take a look at what's happened over the last 2 weeks and what's going to happen in the next week. Ideally, in the future, this will be weekly rather than bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, I guess. I just happened to be out of the country last week on a work thing, so I wasn't capable of doing the stream work for this because this is on my channel. So I kind of have to be the one who does the streaming portion. But so we'll try to cover 2 weeks a little bit quicker, probably than normal, and then next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming.
And just like a quick note as we get started, if you guys want, you can send Steakmittens or me, Shadorra, your match times or any like replays that you think were particularly interesting or highlights. If you want us to go over them on the stream, it's really helpful. Lets us know when we should be around to like look at your stuff and makes it more fun.
Yeah, we can include some like highlights or take a look at some cool points of certain games or whatever. This week we don't really have anything. Like I said, I was away for a week, so I didn't really have the time to go through and look at stuff myself. But if you guys whisper us stuff on Discord or whatever, whether it be like, hey, I'm playing my game at this time, maybe we'll be able to see it. Or if you had a really nice game or a crazy play or something and you want us to show it on the stream, just message us like what game it was and who you played, and we can find that and show it. So here we are. This is REL Division 9D. This is the match results for week 1. The first 4 we can ignore because they're all bye weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of bye teams in here, so it's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah, unfortunately. And with the number of bye teams there are, there's going to be some weeks that, unless they get filled in, it'll be bye team versus bye team, which is kind of funny.
Well, I mean, at least it reduces the number of admin results. I do really like that the 3 games that did get played are a 0-0, 1-1, and a 2-2. It's really satisfying. That's
true. Yeah, so the first game was Union United and Here Goes Nothing, 0-0. So that is the Goblins, right? And the Pro Elves. Ended up 0-0, which is interesting for Pro Elves.
For Pro Elves and Goblins, actually. It looks like the Goblins possessed the ball nearly the entire match. In fact, Union United had 0% ball possession, which is fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That might be interesting to look at some point. That's kind of interesting. A lot of blocks sustained, 1 death sustained for the Elves, 3 casualties, 3 KOs. Looks like they just got goblined really hard before they could do anything, and then they never managed to get back from it. But it's 8 people out, which would have put you down to 3 elves at some point. Yeah. They did inflict 2 injuries, though, so potentially they got some SPP. Yeah, so they got 2 injuries and an MVP, and then the Goblins got the MVP and presumably injuries on Alice.
Alice got 2 injuries, yeah.
Yeah. So we can look at that. We'll look at the teams in a bit. Just wanted to see the match results. The Fnatic got MVP, which is cool because sometimes it's hard for them to get SPP.
Yeah, I mean, you really want them to have Mighty Blow as soon as possible.
Yeah, Mighty Blow or block or extra movement. There's a lot of good things. We have Yeti to Conquer and Cheeky Elves tied 1-1. This is more expected, actual touchdowns.
Yeah, I know Yeti to Conquer is Iron Master's team, who is unfortunately no longer in the league, but...
Yeah. Real life circumstances are forcing him to withdraw, it seems, so we'll have more bye teams following up. Looks like Yeti to Conquer had the ball for most of it.
You'd expect that, I guess.
Elves being elves, they just grabbed it a little bit, threw a couple passes and made a touchdown off of it. 1 kill inflicted, interestingly. A lot of death in week 1s already.
All that AV7,
Lineman Blitzer got an MVP for the High Elves, which is really nice. Well, it's High Elves, right? So they're AV8, except on the catchers.
Yeah, I meant the Norse.
The Norse,
who had the injury. So.
Right. Lineman got MVP, not amazing. still SPP. Blitzer got the MVP, Kevin the kneecapper, which is good because they need to get levels, especially if they can roll doubles.
Yeah, I believe in the Pro Alpha, yeah, Blitzer also got an MVP there. So the MVPs have been going to really good places so far for all these teams, other than the linemen.
Yeah, they weren't super long passes though, 10 yards, and there were 2 of them. So
yeah, just like real short little things. And then next we have Average Rice Joe's versus Armor Furnace.
So we have 3 ties from the real games, which is kind of fun. This one is 2-2 with Lizards and Chaos. The Lizard MVP went to a Saurus,
who is either niggled or MNG'd. We'll look at it when we get to the team, but
which is non-ideal, but
that could be really rough. Yeah.
The Saurus MVP is good because the SPP on Saurus is great.
Holy shit! All that SPP though.
Yeah. Wow. What happened there?
Some murdering and some touchdowns. I mean, like
two injuries.
6 of that is touchdowns.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't score that many touchdowns, so sometimes I forget. So we got definitely 1 level on, or potentially on Steve the Pirate, because 6, assuming they were fresh teams. Mostly even ball possession. Looks like it's just sort of a slugfest and pushing, but people happen to break free and grab a touchdown a couple times. But I would expect happened there 2-2.
Yep, I mean, it's kind of a surprising score for Chaos at least. 2-1. The 2-1 grind is a pretty standard Lizard game, and I mean even early on as Chaos, you tried to work for that as well. But I wonder how it got tied up. That's not what I'd expect as the result of rookie Chaos versus rookie Lizard. Yeah,
there was a bunch of the Chaos or the Lizards got a bunch of KOs, but they must have come back. 2 injuries on both sides, so the field just opened up a little bit and let Skinks run in and score, and they probably had a harder time getting it off the Chaos Warriors or the Beastmen.
Yeah.
So we can look at that's all for week 1 in terms of the match results. 3 ties and 4 admin results. So we're gonna look at week 2 for the results, and then we're gonna go back and look at like the leaderboard and the teams and stuff, because these could potentially spoil things for the team results. If we looked at the teams, it could spoil week stuff. This week we only have 3 buys. One of them is a buy versus a buy, which is kind of fun.
Someone was saying that you should admin it as like a 16 versus 16 result just to mess with us.
Yeah, it's 16. So we had Armor Furnace and Here Goes Nothing this time. So that is the Lizard team versus the Chaos team, versus the Goblin team that we saw earlier, who the Fnatic again got MVP.
Though it looks like he got an injury, so that could be bad.
Yeah, I'm excited to look at that because that's a leveled Fnatic after game 2.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. So 0 Kaz, only MVPs. Yeah. The Chaos War MVP is so good though. Getting that early level on one, like perfect 7 out of 6, like.
Yeah, he got 7 SPP. He got an MVP and presumably an injury, because there were 4 injuries and 5 KOs. I mean,
the Chaos really made away like bandits when it comes to SPP on this one. They got
yeah, if you could score, 19? I'm not sure if you could score if you scored early or whatever, but if you can get the secret weapon sent off, then you just have a bunch of SPP like pinatas for Chaos in the Goblins. You need pals, but that's not too hard when they're strength 2 and you're strength 4 with the Chaos Warriors. Like 1 assist and it's 3 dice. Yeah. So potentially that could be what happened there. The Goblins got 1 injury and 4 KOs, but if the KOs come back, the 1 injury might not be enough to like sustain you after your secret weapons go away.
Yeah, and like we saw last game, there was at least 1 level, I think, from the Chaos. So the Chaos are probably going into this with either like 1 mighty block or 1 block, or 1 mighty blow or 1 block rather.
Mighty block.
One block blitz a turn is a much more guaranteed knockdown, or much more likely knockdown, I should say, on any goblin. Which, if you're getting a good knockdown on a goblin every turn, you're gonna remove some goblins. So. Yeah,
Chaos had the ball most of the time. They just survived the secret weapons, got some touchdowns.
Yep, looks like it. They knocked out the Fnatic by punching him over. Good stuff.
Average Rice Joes 2-0 against the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards.
Yeah, Lizard on Lizard. Skink MVPs.
on both sides, and they both
how
have the
we
same
do.
like derpy face.
Yep, they both have the exact same ball possession.
Yep. Mirror match, lizard mirror match. One side had more. So the average Rice Joes got 2 injuries, and 1 KO versus the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards 4 KOs. So just you're up in mirror matches when you're up players. Certainly makes a difference.
I mean, it's interesting because the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards succeeded at far more blocks. I wonder if they just were worse at hitting skinks. It might be interesting to go back and look at that.
Yeah, or I mean, maybe they just got slightly unlucky in terms of like the injury rolls or the armor rolls or something.
SPP was very one-sided. The Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards, as we said, didn't get any SPP beyond MVP, and the other team got 15. So a lot of high SPP games for sure.
Yeah.
Just looking at the dice real quick to make sure everything.
Sure, I can look at that. I can.
No, it's cool. I'm just like making sure that there's nothing really outrageous in there.
No, I think there isn't even much difference between like the armor rolls of the two teams. It's 9 of 25 and 7 of 17. But then again, armor rolls are kind of weird because you can roll against your own armor if you fall over and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But 50% casualty. They both had 50%. Or no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. One guy passed every bonehead, and one person failed half of them.
Jesus.
But the average Rice Joes, the team who won 2-0 were the ones who failed half their boneheads.
And they only made 9. I wonder if their Crocs got KO'd or if he just stood around a lot.
I feel like he stood around a lot. Then we have Yeti to Conquer and Buffget Bills. This will be Yeti's last match, sadly, because he got MVP on an Ulfwerner. And that's good. It would have close.
It would have leveled without it, so that's actually kind of annoying. But it does make him MVP ready again to get to level 3.
The sad part is he won't be playing again, probably. At least not for a while.
Yeah, he might be back eventually with this team, but not this season.
Black Orc MVP is great because they're hard to initially level, and then once you can get some like block on them, it goes a lot faster.
Yeah, it's really important to get blocking guard.
Probably guard first. Orcs are weird.
You can get block. You kind of do a bit of both often.
Well, if
it
you
also depends on when you're leveling them and what the rest of your team looks like.
That's true.
Yeah, orcs are definitely weird.
Well, with the philosophy I've often seen for Black Orcs is that you can go either block or guard first, but the moment you get block, you have to give all the other ones block, because you'll start making the block, like the blocks with the Black Orc first, because it's safer, which means the other Black Orcs are less likely to get blocks off, and then that one Black Orc is going to level faster and get away from the other ones.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens with Saurus as well.
Yeah, so it's if you people tend to go guard first and then take block on all of them after, because it's slow, but the guard is really good and you kind of want it. Anyway, this was 1-0, 1 death, 3 injuries for on the Norse, as well as a death. Oh geez, armor 7.
Yep, that's to be expected. We'll see what his team looks like when we get to it.
Yep. Although the Norse did win, so it's hard to complain too much.
Losing a bunch of your team and dying is kind of the Norse way.
Yeah, the Orcs had the ball more often, although they spent most of the time in their own half with it, so I feel like the Norse just kind of did a successful defense and then managed to grab it and score on their drive.
Exactly, yeah. And then finally we have Elven Union versus Wood Elf.
That would be an elf match to watch.
Yeah, 2-1 for the Elven Union.
That's more expected.
I don't know. Both teams I think are really strong early on. Hi, Millen. Yeah, it really comes down to like who rolls more ones and who positions better, like those sort of things. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's going to be I'm not necessarily expected in terms of the High Elves versus the Wood Elves, or the Pro Elves versus the Wood Elves winning. I mean, like just the fact that it's like 2-1 rather than 1-0 or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's worth noting the Wood Elves rolled way more dice, so that certainly can lead to you losing.
That's true. more dice were rolled. 17 dodges versus, or more than 17, 23 dodges versus 11.
I only see 3 dodges for
6 success. Oh, that was catch. Oops.
Yeah. So
dodge is 3. Yeah, 3 dodges versus 22.
They only made 3 dodges. That must have mean that, were they out bashing them?
Let's see. There was
Not
31
really.
successful blocks, 25. The elves bashed, or the pro elves bashed a little bit harder, but I think that's probably just because of the blitzers. You have. Then again, the wood elves also have war dancers, though, but you probably don't want to use them to just be punching stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're often your blitz for the term. So
3 KOs, 3 injuries, 1 KO, 2 injuries, 2 surprisingly bashy elf game. Like they beat each other up, kind of good. Some reasonable SPP, 7-5-5.
Yep.
5-4. Although target 1, target 2, and target 3 got the SPP, and if I recall correctly, those are his linemen.
They are definitely his linemen. Yes.
Which is non-ideal.
Pretty sure.
Or no, the target 3 is a catcher. Never mind. He just names them all target something because it's the foul targets.
No, target 1, target 2, and target 3 are in fact his war dancers and catchers.
Okay, so that's really good.
It's just numbered 1 through 11.
Okay.
We're good at this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's actually perfect. But anyway.
So that's good. The catcher
shall we
almost
look
levels.
at the leaderboard? See where we're at?
Yeah, sure. Whoop. So after this, we have 4 teams tied for first.
Yeah, I mean, when everyone draws and everyone gets 1 win, like,
yeah, that's true.
it's to be expected.
Average Rice Joes they played in the first week, right? That wasn't a bye. Yeah, they tied in their first week and then they won their second one. So they've earned both of those points rather than
same with the Norse as well, though that doesn't really matter anymore. I believe Armor Furnace also played both of their games.
Yep. And so did the Elven Union, didn't they? Yeah, they did.
Much.
So never mind. All 4 of the tied teams are ones that have played both of their games, and that's because the admin results for this week haven't happened, right? So Cheeky Elves and Redeemed Dark Elves, right, are both going to get another win. That sucks for the Redeemed Dark Elves because they haven't played a game yet, and we're about to go into week 4 or week 3, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's free development for them, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's just annoying that you go to, like, I signed up for this league, and then you don't play until week 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But that means, so the Redeemed Dark Elves are going to go to 2-0-0 and be first, along with the Cheeky Elves, but they tied, so they'll go up to tied for second with 1-1 and 0. So the first place for the division will be Moya and the Redeemed Dark Elves, but he hasn't actually played a game yet.
Yeah, so it's worth considering that everyone else is going to get 2 free wins as well. So.
At some point, yeah. So it's a little early to say anything now, but, you know, that's the way things go. Obviously, the bye weeks are losing. The lowest team that isn't a bye is currently the Goblin team. Not unexpected. Goblins are hard to play. But once you get some like levels, it can be a bit easier when you're more capable of removing players, or once the TV differences get a little bit higher and you can get more inducements and more bribes and stuff, it makes it a bit easier to do stuff as Goblins. So expect them to do more in the coming weeks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's never easy to be a Goblin team, let's be real. But
Nope. But it's a bit easier when you have more
and you can abuse everyone else's inducements, yeah.
Yeah.
So do you want to start going through the teams?
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to start with Quick Draw and his Union United.
I don't think he has any levels yet. No, it's just some fan factor, I guess. Oh no, he does have a level. He's 2 levels. He's just down a player, so that's why the team value looks small. Blitzer picked up Dodge, so it's a Blodge Step Blitzer, which is great. And then he's picked up one with Tackle, which makes sense considering he was about to play some Wood Elves.
And just this league is very dodgy in general. I mean, even the bashy teams like are lizards, so
yeah, Tackle
you're going to
makes
see some
total sense.
dodge. Yeah.
Yep, and then the lineman is presumably missed next game. Yep.
Yeah, it's really good that he's got all of this SPP on the blitzers. It's not hard to do with Elven Union. I mean,
blitzers and catchers, yeah. He does have a thrower who doesn't have anything yet, surprisingly. which means that he hasn't been passing with the thrower. Or no, yes, he has, because the catch gives you SPP. So.
The thrower is new. He hasn't played a match. So
okay, so he's a new, and that makes sense because I guess he didn't start with one, and
has only now earned the money to buy one. So
yeah, we'll start it off with trying to level the blitzers and the catcher, because the thrower will get it for sure. The blitzers will be harder once you get a thrower and a catcher.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll look to see him getting a lot more dodge, maybe some passing and throwing skills, probably prioritizing dodge and some wrestle from the lineman, maybe. It really depends.
Yeti to Conquer, Iron Master will be relatively quick. The Ulf that leveled got block, unsurprisingly. The Berserker looks really nice now, in that he has Mighty Blow and Piling On. But, I mean, they start with block and jump up, which is, like, the start of a perfect killer.
Yeah, but to have Mighty Blow Piling On 6 games in is pretty intense.
Yeah, and the Runner has picked up Dodge, so he's Blodge, which is pretty good, although he looks like he's a niggle.
He is niggled. That is a dead runner.
He will be dead at... I mean, he's very targetable, right? That's the, like, probably the ball carrier, in that he's Blodge, and he's more movement, and niggled. So he's a pretty big target. There's one tackle lineman. He's missed next game. They've lost a few players, as long as two deaths sustained so far, which not
looks
unexpected.
like he lost a runner or a berserker, maybe.
It might have been a berserker or a lineman. If I recall correctly, he only had one runner. I don't remember if he had 2 berserkers or not.
It's pretty rough, but to be expected. This many games is North. Sometimes AV7 is in fact AV7.
Yep. Average Rice Joes, coached by Average Rice, unsurprisingly. Steve the Pirate got Sidestep, and Justin Redman got Sidestep.
Oof, so much skink SPP. I mean, it's to be expected, especially early on. But it looks like he got an unfortunate. Oh, right, I saw that he got an MVP on a skink. So that kind of sucks.
It's annoying. Like, the skinks are going to be hogging SPP with all the touchdowns anyway, and you really want to get block on the Saurus. Hello,
but he's doing okay.
Aldar.
He's a Kaz away from Laser and White Goodman leveling. He's
Laser,
an MVP
Laser,
away from...
Gordon, Peter LaFleur. It's all dodgeball, and it's the Average Joes, the dodgeball team. Yeah,
I remember.
Fran.
Michelle Jones is an MVP away.
I like the Croxagore being Fran. It's like your Croxagore named Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Hillary Clinton's going to be a champ. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So 3 Saurus, 3 of 6 Saurus are an MVP away. The Croxagore is an MVP away. So that's not bad. It's unfortunate Skinks got the first levels, but that's not unexpected whatsoever. And has been winning. Or win and a draw so far. So
yeah.
Armor Furnace, coached by SSLO Slow. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
It's got the best shiny armor. This is what I had in my Chaos Cup team.
Yeah, picked up Mighty Blow and a block.
2 levels on a Chaos Warrior after 2 games is pretty nice.
Yeah, and he played both of those games too. None of those were like MVPs or none of them were like admin MVPs.
So he's definitely going kill Chaos with the first pickup Mighty Blow.
It's not unexpected. I mean, a lot of like Chaos or Nurgle or whatever. Generally, you'll pick up like a block so that you have the safe play, but then just immediately go Mighty Blow on somebody, whether that be a Chaos Warrior or a Beastman or something, just to kickstart your leveling and hope that you get lucky essentially without turning over too much. Because Chaos and Nurgle early can be a little rough until you get some levels. So,
yeah, I was looking at some early Sage videos for the Slaanesh Slaughterers, and I noticed he went Mighty Blow on basically everyone. And his philosophy was Chaos suck early on, and you're going to lose most of your games. So it's better to get Mighty Blow on everyone so you can get out of that early stage as fast as possible. Like, you're still going to lose more early because you have Mighty Blow instead of block. But
yeah, it depends on what your philosophy is, right? In an Eternal League like REBBL, that's totally legitimate. Where like I'm going to be in the bottom division for 3 seasons, but then after that I'll just fly through the ranks. Is fine. If you're doing like with my Nurgle in the college league, I didn't want to go that route because I had 1 chance in the college league, right? I wanted to see if I could.
You say you had 1 shot to blow.
Yeah.
This opportunity comes.
Once in a lifetime.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. So like you can go Mighty Blow first. Like you can do a little mix, like which looks like that's what Slow is doing. You know, grab one guy, go like block Mighty Blow Claw. Grab one guy like guard, block Mighty Blow. Grab one guy Mighty Blow Claw block. Like just to have that killer.
Just like a little bit of variety.
Just slightly different orders. Cheeky Elves, coached by Gypsy Prince. These are the high elves. Nothing.
A little beat up.
Moving on. No.
They had a dead lineman, it looks like.
Yeah, they had two, and they started with 2 throwers and 2 rerolls, which is interesting. Everybody starts with 2. An MVP went to the Blitzer, which is great, but he hasn't leveled yet. And then there's some like touchdowns and passes on other people. So no real development yet to speak of. But the MVP on the Blitzer is super nice. Although they haven't played their their game yet this week because they'll be getting a bye. So they have three players that could potentially level with an MVP. So this is
you get
only
an MVP
1 week.
and I believe you get both MVPs and a touchdown. So they'll be getting. I mean, they could get 2 levels out of it.
Potentially, or maybe even 3 if they're super lucky.
If they're incredibly lucky, they could get 2 linemen and a blitzer.
Or
actually,
the
no, they
thrower.
could get a blitzer thrower, but unlikely.
Yeah. So this is just 1 game, so there's not really any development to speak of yet, sadly. But that's the nature of 1 game. Next week we'll probably see what happened with their levels in if they got any in the bye game.
For sure.
Goblins.
Your stream, by the way, still says you're playing World of Warcraft.
Oh, oops. I forgot to update that.
Well played. It's the kind of production value you can expect around here, folks.
Yeah, I just forgot to update the titles. Oops.
I want to see what's up with that Fnatic. I'm going to do that while you get stuck doing that.
REBBL.
Would you like to guess what the Fnatic has grabbed?
No. Is it
grab.
Is it grab?
It is grab. Tristan is looking at me in disgust.
There we go. I fixed it. Sorry about that. It's the last thing I was streaming WoW on Sunday. I forgot to update it. Cool. Yep. So the Fnatic got grab, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, it just keeps people next to you, which is all you really want as a Fnatic.
Throw as many ball and chains as you possibly can.
Exactly.
Other options are Mighty Blow or multi-block potentially, which is not good, but you can do it.
That's his only level, though. The Looney is MVP ready because he got a Kaz, it looks like.
Ideally, block or movement are really good on the Fnatic, but those are both doubles or stats. Looney is MVP ready, which is good, because that's basically the only way they really level, other than Kaz. Nothing on the Bombardier yet. Did he lose a troll?
Unless he started with 1, which is incredibly unlikely. So, yep.
That's annoying.
Yep.
Although he has enough to buy another one, so he'll probably just buy another troll before next week. Because you kind of want the 2 trolls, because those are your roadblocks to get in the way of people while you do goblin-y things. No levels on the goblins, but that's not bad. It kind of goblins are mostly good enough as it is with stunty and dodge and agi 3. And you don't want to get too much TV on them because they're cheap linemen, and like you want to stay lower than other people to get the inducements.
Yep, exactly. Like there's some good things you can pick up on the secret weapons, but you don't really want to. And like the trolls, even getting levels on the trolls is kind of nice. But
and there's a couple things you can do, but like it depends, right? Like if you could get plus agi or something to make the throwing more reliable, that'd be good. Or like if you could roll doubles or something to get something like that. But like for the most part, it's like skinks, right? You only have agi access. You're gonna get dodge, sidestep, and then you're probably just gonna ignore it from then on out.
Exactly.
So maybe sidestep.
And next up, we have the redeemed Dark Elves, number 1 in the division. Never played a game.
Yeah, they're the ones who had the assassin.
Doesn't have multi-block yet. Moving on.
Yeah. This is just 1 admin result, right? Or two admin results.
Yeah, they've only had 1 because the week 2. Oh, and right, they've got 2 draws from the preseason, I guess.
Yeah, so 1 admin result, 2 draws. They've done. So there's nothing really to talk about. The runner has 3. This lineman is leveled up and has gotten kick, which is pretty good for elf teams, especially. One of the first
it really helps you
probably
control
get.
Defense. And Dark Elves are all about defense, so it makes sense.
Yeah, one of the first Lino skills you generally get on an elves is like a kick piece, and then you'll start getting like wrestle or block or dodge or whatever. Sure. One of the blitzers is MVP, or two of the blitzers are MVP potential for leveling after this week's bye, so that could be nice. Getting blodge on them is really important, really good.
Yeah, I mean, he's also got a couple pieces that are like touchdown ready as well, so the SPP he gets from this admin result will be critical. If it all goes onto 0 SPP pieces, he's going to be really sad.
The Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards, coached by Leazar127.
Yeah, actually, this is the guy who was going to join college, had a little too much experience, and is now here.
Right. So he's got 1 win and 1 loss, which is, not too bad.
Yeah, doing okay.
A miss next game. I think it's just a miss next game. Yeah, on a skink, which is unfortunate because that means he's only gonna have 3 skinks going into his next game.
No, you get a rookie skink. It's fine.
Oh right, he's down a player. Duh.
So it doesn't matter, especially since it's a 0 SPP skink. You just use that skink to like be
mark things or whatever.
Even more dead. Yeah.
Yeah. No levels to speak of, although he's
good
got
SPP though.
Yeah, so far three of the Saurus are all like touchdown, or 2 of them are Kaz ready even. Yep. So that's like after 1 more game, if things go well, he could have 3 block Saurus suddenly, which makes his team in really good shape for game 4.
Yeah, exactly. He's got he had
game 3
a bye week already, so he got a bit of SPP from that, which looks like it really did him some good. He's pretty close to having some leveled Saurus, which is always really nice. Having 13 SPP on Saurus after 2 games,
really good.
Pretty much the ideal. I mean, you'd really want to pick up a level. I got a level on Joe Biden after 2 games, but that was incredibly lucky. So
Buff Get Bills by Half Baked Orc Team. He picked up a thrower. I remember us talking about that. Not everybody does that. No SPP on the thrower yet.
Versus these many elves, I'm not surprised.
Although he got doubles on the blitzer and decided to pick up dodge, so he now has a blodge blitzer, which means that blitzer is going to be your ball carrier at some point. Once you get to maybe 1 more level and he can pick up sure hands, depending on what the teams you're playing against look like, you probably just fire that thrower and then carry on the blitzer all the time because he's blodge now. The only thing you really use the thrower for is the sure hands. And like I'm in a desperate position, orcs are still at G3 mostly, I'm gonna throw the ball and hope he catches it in the end zone as my only way of scoring. Yeah. But that's nice. I mean, it doesn't really help you level up. It's a similar thing that I did with my Nurgle Pestigors. They got double, so they picked up dodge. It's not really super helpful in terms of winning your next game or two.
It's a lot better on blitzers though.
Yeah,
once you already have the block. So the problem with picking up a double on like a Black Orc or a Saurus or any of these other like strength 4 pieces is it doesn't make that, like picking up a dodge double, like it doesn't help them level. It doesn't really do anything for them.
But it'll be good eventually.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be amazing in 4 levels, but 4 levels is, 20 games from now because you just slowed down the development so much by picking up dodge.
You just don't know whether they're going to get doubles in the future. So in a long run league that you expect to play the team a lot, it's not bad to do that. But like if you need levels to win now, it's not as good to do that.
I still wouldn't do it even in an Eternal League, to be honest. It's just not worth it.
Although blodge on the blitzer is super good. The other ones, the ones that are close, like all the other blitzers are MVP. One of them is touchdown. One of those can be your killer. 2 of those could be your killer. One of them could be a support piece like guard and stuff. 2 of the Black Orcs are 1 SPP from leveling, which is amazing because levels on Black Orcs are super good, especially only after 2 games that you have this much SPP. Like that's great. So good on Half Baked, and that'll be this team after like 2 or 3 more games. If he gets lucky, will have some like probably pretty far ahead of the others, I think.
Yeah, doing really well. Next up is Foul Targets, the Wood Elf team.
Mm-hmm. They've, as I recall, they've got most of their SPP on their good players. Yep.
No levels though.
Not yet. 1 missed next game lineman, but next game, which so yeah, he's already played 2, so the next game will be next week. Next game, he's got a pretty easy chance to level 2 War Dancers, a catcher, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can start getting like strip ball going. You can do a lot of things with
Yeah.
these war dancers.
I'd be surprised if when we come back next week he doesn't have at least 2, maybe 3 levels.
For sure.
Next week.
What else don't struggle to get SPP early? So
No, not with when they can just score.
I mean, shit, you could just do a vanity pass with target number 3, and there's a level.
Yeah, and that's a 2+ vanity pass, right? Like there you
Exactly.
go. Yeah. So and those are the good players to level too, right? The catcher, the war dancers, linemen. You want to get like if you can get guard on one of them, that's amazing. But it's very much like if they don't roll doubles, who cares?
Yeah, if you're not picking up guard on them, like it's not that big of a deal. You want to get kick, as wood elves early on as well.
Somebody will get kick. Maybe somebody will get wrestle. Like you can give some of them like dodge or something, so that they're a little less like likely to go down and get killed. But like in the long run, as we've seen, wood elves can do very well with like 3 players and a crap load of loners, because it turns out Agi 4 is just good, regardless of whether you have skills or not. But if you can get like guard on them or something, then you want to keep those linemen around because it's super helpful to just chuck a guard next to a cage and then dive in with the war dancer.
Yeah, I mean they're not long for this world, but they're super important for the very typical war dancer cage dive.
Yep, and the rest are admin teams. So we can look at what next week, I guess, is going to look like in terms of the matches. Yeti that's a bye week versus a bye week. So Average Rice Joes will be playing Union United. So that's the Lizard Men with the 2 sidestep skinks versus the Pro Elf team, or the Elven Union team. Yeah, Pro Elves. 1010 versus 1090. So the Pro Elves will get 80k to play with, probably like an Apo when you're, or not an Apo, Babes maybe when you're going up against Lizards.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you'd pick up anything too serious at that level.
Who do I give this to? I think the tackle is going to help out a lot. That one blitz piece with tackle is going to make a big difference.
Yeah, he's going to be able to go skink hunting. So if Average Rice,
yeah, he's blodge tackle. So Average Rice is going to have a hard time getting rid of him, and he's also going to be a threat to the skink. So I think I'd want to give this to the Elven Union.
Yeah, it's going to be tough if the Lizard coach cages well and protects his guys. I mean, there's no leap, there's no strip ball, there's nothing like cheesy like that. So it's going to come down to who controls the pitch better.
Mm-hmm.
How's your positioning, how's your caging, stuff like that.
It could very easily be like a 1-1 type thing, or a 2-2 type thing or something.
Yeah, it's really hard with Elven Union simply because you can tie it up and you can score, but as soon as you score, you know that the Elven Union, you have very little tools to stop the Elven Union from scoring, especially as Lizards.
Yeah,
because so much of your power is condensed into particular units.
And the Elven Union won't be like neither of the teams will be good at defending against the other team. Is basically what I think is what's going to happen here. I only give a slight advantage to the Union team because of the tackle blitzer, so they have a little bit more of a chance of removing the ball from his skink than like the Lizard Men have of removing the ball from like one of those blitzers or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So then we have bye week, Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards and Redeemed Dark Elves.
So this is the Dark Elves' first game versus Leazar. So it's kind of hard to call this one without seeing what the Redeemed Dark Elves are going to do with their money and their SPP from the admin week. So it's going to be really important. Dark Elves early on are a very strong team. The Lizards are fine, but they're not leveled up at all. They have 1 skink level, which doesn't really matter.
Although the Dark Elves do have the Assassin, which can stab the skinks pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Assassin is funny, but I think even without the Assassin, I'd probably give it to the Dark Elves.
Yeah, depending on how well the SPP gets distributed from this week.
Yeah, and the
if
money
he gets unlucky, it could be not good. And then I think I'd still give it to the Dark Elves, but not by much. If he gets lucky,
I wouldn't be
then
surprised
the Dark Elves' favor.
to see him pick up a Witch Elf as well with the money he's going to get.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, he doesn't have an Apo or a team rule. You probably want to grab the Apo first.
The Assassin
really
is funny. Shadowing won't be amazing because skinks are movement 8, but if you can get him on the skinks and stab them, that will be funny.
Funny, yes, definitely funny.
Potentially good, like if he gets lucky.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it because the last one was a bye week as well.
No, it's not. Buff, get bills, and foul targets.
I'm looking at the week 2. Yeah, buff, get bills, and foul targets. So that's the orcs and the blodge orc and the foul targets. I think this might go to the wood elves, but I think it's gonna be close. So on the orc side, they've got a blodge blitzer, which will be hard to knock over. They've got the sure hands thrower, but that doesn't matter too much because the wood elves don't have strip ball yet.
I actually like the orcs. The blodge blitzer, if he's ball carrying, is really hard to knock over on a 1-die, right? I mean, you're rolling for pows as a wood elf, a war dancer. Like that's not going to work very often.
Yeah, but then the orcs are like they'll spend 7 turns scoring or whatever, and then I think the wood elves will have an easy time tying it.
Yeah, so it comes down to whether it's the exact same as a lizard game, but they don't have the movement of the lizards. So the orcs are going to have to really try for that 2-1 grind, like force your opponent to score early on his half, either because you're beating the hell out of him or because you've got him pinned.
Yep.
And
I think that's the way the orcs win. The wood elves win if the 2-1 grind doesn't go well, or if they get lucky, right? If they because the wood elves will be able to score in like 2 or 3 turns, no problem. If the orcs give them 2 or 3 turns to score, so tying it will not be a problem for them. But it's the going ahead that'll be harder for the wood elves. And if they get lucky with like a lucky bounce or like a lucky pow or something, like that game could come down to like 1 turn worth of dice rolls, I think is what could happen with that game.
It's going to be one to watch. I think it would be an interesting matchup regardless, but early wood elves versus early orcs is a really tough game for both in some cases.
And it's going to be an important week for the redeemed dark elves because if they'll be 2-0 in the top of the division, and if they win that week, they'll go up to 3-0, which is definitely a good start. And nobody else will be at 3-0, no matter.
No, but all of these teams are going to get a lot of these teams are going to get 2 free wins. So
eventually, but it'll be out ahead if they win this by a couple points initially.
Yeah. As we move on to the next division, I'm going to grab a new beer.
Okay.
So, can you monologue for 2 seconds?
You can certainly monologue for as long as you'd like. I'll just reiterate to anybody who's watching this on the YouTube later, which it will be. The YouTube is also Steakmittens. If you search that, you should find it. I'll be putting this basically unedited up there, other than cutting off anything at the start or the finish. So if you can't watch all of it now, feel free to check it out on YouTube later. So any of you watching on YouTube, or any of you watching live now, especially if you're from 9E or 9D, please message Shadorra or myself on Discord when your games are scheduled for, because maybe we can cast them. Or if you had a game that was really good, maybe message us and tell us that it was good or why it was good, or if there was some sort of cool play or whatever that we can highlight for the next week. That would be great. Since he's still not back, I can show you my steak mittens. Look, I have actual steak mittens. They're oven gloves, or oven mitts, depending on where you're from. And they have steaks on them. Isn't that great? Yeah, so I'll just reiterate, send us through Discord whether you have your scheduled matches or any cool plays, whatever, that we can highlight.
Were you showing off your steak mittens?
Yep, I figured I'd do that quickly. So if we look at week 1, the schedule for 9E, do we have any buys?
Yes, we have at least one.
Yeah, the Gods of Metal and Foodie bye week was a buy. And I don't think any other ones were. So One Cheese beats Bloodstain 3-0. So that's Skaven. And is Bloodstain goblins? Are they? Yeah, I think they're
goblins.
Goblins
Are underworld. Hold on. They're
goblins.
goblin.
They're goblins because they're not underworld goblins.
They even. Yes, quite. It actually labels it.
So that's not unexpected. It's going to be hard for the, fanatics to hit the important, or the fanatics or the trolls or the loonies to hit the important Skaven players. Storm Vermin with block will have a easier time of knocking over some goblins, and then gutter runners are just so much faster than the entire goblin team that
you can just run around them. Yeah,
they're just going to keep running and scoring, and I assume that's probably what happened. I got a couple 6 KOs, right? Those are probably all on goblins from Storm Vermin.
Just wanted to look at SPP real quick.
Yep.
They didn't actually do that well, so I'm guessing that they didn't get many injuries. Yeah, they got 0 injuries.
Yeah, 0 injuries, but 3 touchdowns,
a pass,
a pass or 2 passes, and an MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially no levels from that yet. Goblins only at the MVP, sadly. Although early Skaven versus early Goblins, that's not really unexpected that it went that way.
Yeah.
To be
Storm
fair.
Vermin MVP is really nice. You want to get rolling on them early. Hopefully pick up some doubles for the Claw Mighty Blow.
Irish Monks lost 0-2 to Desnotnakas, who are...
I'm guessing that's an Orc team, predictably. Yep.
And they look like Pro Elves. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's interesting. I mean, Pro Elves early can be a little hard until you get all the cool, like, passy skills. So presumably the Orcs just managed to defend really well or knock out enough Elves that it made it hard for them to score when it was on their drive.
Yep, 4 KOs, 2 injuries to 2 KOs.
75%
2 KOs as
ball possession.
Pro Elves is pretty lucky against Armor 9.
That's
a lot of SPP for just not
7.
Knockers.
For the Pro Elves, I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. 11 of the SPP went to that Blitzer, so he scored 2 touchdowns and or maybe 2 Kazs, and got MVP. No, he got 6, right? No, that means he got some touchdowns.
Yeah, he got the MVP
Kaz
in both touchdowns, and then the other 2 players got a Kaz each, I think.
Yeah, but that's only 9. He got 11, so that means he scored touchdowns.
MVP in both touchdowns is 11.
Oh, right, and touchdowns are 3. Duh.
Yeah, and then the 2 casualties went to Hroktar Dabasha and Mulg Damasha. So that's good. I mean, I think what happened there is probably just that the Snotknockers managed to hold onto the ball for a lot longer. They got, and then while they were doing that, they knocked out enough Elves that made it easier to get the ball off the Elves in their drive, and then just held onto it because the Pro Elves couldn't get rid of any of the Orcs until you get like the crazy passing skills and stuff on the Pro Elves. It just can be hard to defend against, Armor 9 and block and Strength 4 and stuff, and you have no real way of dealing with it.
Yep. Next up is CR Boys' Giant Stags Wood Elves versus the Chew Toys, which are an undead team, I think.
Either undead or necro.
The white. We'll figure it out in a minute.
It's
unfortunately
it's necro
MVP on the dead lineman. That really stings.
Oh, that does suck. And he would have leveled too. Yep. MVP on the white, who already had 5. So he's going to end up leveling, which is great because you can pick up, tackle or mighty blow or something, depending on what you want to do with the whites.
Oh, it is a necro team. It looks like
it is a necro team. Yeah, kind of as expected, right? The necro had it for the most part, but Wood Elves managed to scoop it up twice, pass it down, score, right? Although they did manage to get a kill and 2 injuries.
It was a really brutal game.
Yeah.
8 KOs total, 3 injuries,
2
2 deaths.
Yeah, sadly, the only likely level from the Wood Elves is the guy who died. I like how Wide Boy got a Kaz.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because they've got 5, 3, and 3, and I don't think they've played too many games beyond this, so. Yeah, it's a real damn shame, as they say.
Yeah. Komodo Killers and the Archangel's Will.
Just Archangel's Will.
I was looking at Duh from the previous.
I know.
So let's Lizards and Wood Elves. And that was also a tie.
Yeah, the Archangel's Will would be a weird name for a Wood Elf team.
It really would be. Yeah, it's same thing, right? The Komodo Killers had the ball for like half the game. It's been a while trying to score. Wood Elves, barely had the ball. They scooped it up, ran in, got a touchdown, while taking a couple injuries, sadly.
Yeah, you got a 2-1 versus Wood Elves. There's no You don't really see very many 1-0 wins versus.
No, they can, especially with like it's the edgy four and the catchers. It's just so easy to scoop up the ball, hurl it to a catcher, and have them run in, and there's nothing you can do about it. Skink got MVP, which is unfortunate. The catcher got MVP, which is great, especially since it likely levels him. No injuries for the Wood Elves, but they took some from the Lizards, so we'll see what happens when we take a look at the teams later.
Yep. Next up is a bye week, and then we have Friendship is Massacre versus the Nagarond Nut Punchers, so Dark Elves versus...
Undead.
Undead, because they're mummies, probably? Yes.
Yeah, it's Undead. So 2-1 for the Undead. A mummy got MVP, Apple Jackhammer.
Really good. You get a level out of it, too.
Yeah, that's super good. 2 touchdowns versus 1 touchdown. 40 successful blocks for the Undead. 5 KOs and 5 injuries. That's going to be some SPP. No wonder they won 2-0. They just removed a whole bunch of elves.
They must have killed them all. Jesus. Yeah, that's, 21 SPP for the first game? Friendship is Massacre indeed.
Though they did well at playing their game, right? Undead, especially early, are a bash team, right? The mummies are so good at removing people. The whites are...
I think Undead are always a bash team, but yes.
Just they're one of the better bash teams, like, early on.
Yeah, for sure. They're quite gross.
And yeah, it looks like they got some Kaz probably early. They removed enough elves to make it really hard for the elves to defend, and they won 2-1.
Yeah, they killed someone. So it looks like one of the Dark Elves killed themselves because they sustained a death, but they did not cause a death. So
yeah. So did he like fall on a tripwire and die?
Must have like hit the death floor in one way or another.
Death floor, take my energy.
And last is Gods of Metal. Oh no, that's day 2.
Yep.
Broken Boys versus the Chaos Corp. It was a conceit.
That's a bye week. Okay, so the Chaos Corp is an admin team. Although
is it? I thought it wasn't.
The MVPs went to Skeletons, which is funny. Or maybe it's not an admin team, but they weren't capable of showing up.
Yeah, it could have been just a concede. Yeah,
always possible.
I backed to the division.
We can look at week 2. There's only one bye week here, as far as I can tell, and that's the Chew Toys versus the Foodie bye week. The Chaos Corp looks like they played this week, so it must have been they couldn't make the game for some reason and had to concede it. Unfortunately, always sucks, but sometimes real life happens.
And up first is again the Goblins losing 3-0 to the Wood Elf linemen, so having a rough go at it early on.
Yeah, well, Goblins. Although the Fnatic got MVP, which is great.
Yeah, you always want to see that.
They didn't really they got 1 injury and 1 KO, right? The Goblins needed to remove elves in order to be able to win.
It looks like the Goblins had a real bad time with fouls. They were expelled from the pitch 3 times, so
yeah,
it kind of looks like they started fouling.
Well, the expulsions can be the secret weapons too.
Oh shit, you're right.
Which will get expelled. Yeah,
I forgot that also counted.
They probably just fell into some sort of goblin trap, right? Where like if you're attacking, do you field all your secret weapons and then try to score early? But you don't want to score early, but then you have to hold on to the ball and hope you don't lose it. If you're defending and you field all your secret weapons, then the Wood Elves can just score in like 2 or 3 turns, and then you lose all your secret weapons anyway. So that's I imagine an early score got the secret weapons off, and they couldn't get enough work done beforehand to make it worth it.
Well, they had 3 bribes, so I think that probably did some work. It looks like I can see they made 3 bribe rolls, and they were all successful. So they were probably trying to keep the secret weapons on that way, but it looks like the Wood Elves maybe scored twice quickly because it's 3-0. So.
And they just couldn't get enough work done on the Wood Elves before they got sent off, basically. And then once you don't have your secret weapons against Wood Elves, they'll just run away from you. They'll score. Like, they had the ball most of the time, even as Wood Elves. So it wasn't just like, pass, score, repeat. Like, they basically had control of that game, it seems. Like, the Goblins only even made 14 blocks, which is not even the 1 Fnatic blitz a turn. Right?
Yeah, though they did roll rather poorly on the block dice, it looks like. Found 2 POWs the entire game, but
that's 14. Not good.
14 blocks will do that to you sometimes.
14 blocks and 13 pushes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I feel like the Goblins just couldn't quite get enough done early to make a difference, but sometimes it'll happen. And like we said with the other team, once you get a bit the other teams get a bit higher, you can get more inducements. And if you can field a line of 3 trolls, that's pretty good.
Oh, a bomb actually was thrown against elves, and it worked.
Really? That's funny.
Yeah, I can see he had to make 4 impact of the bomb rolls.
Oh, neat.
Anyway,
Oh
it
yeah.
looks like someone actually left the competition. I'm getting a warning about it. I didn't. Anyway,
Bye week, Negaron Nut Punches and Disnot Knockas.
so the orcs again beat up some elves and pulled out a victory. Ooh, level on the witch elf though, but the MVP that's really
super
nice.
good. I'm interested to see what happens there when we go take a
Same
look
with
at
the
that
level
later.
on the blitzer, really good.
3 KOs, so it wasn't, and one injury for the orcs took 1 injury.
Yeah, that's not really that bad. No deaths were sustained.
Looks like
really
the orcs
no
just held
SPP
on
to
to the
be
ball
spot on.
longer. They didn't really accomplish a whole lot in terms of like removing dark elves, but the dark elves just couldn't get the ball off them, it seems.
Yeah, so they couldn't quite defend. 2-0 is unexpected. I would have expected more of a 1-0 win. Something must have gone wrong,
2-1,
and
yeah.
they turned over the ball and
Orcs
maybe
managed
tried to
scoop it up.
score, failed. Someone scooped up the ball, yeah.
And once the orcs have it, it's just going to be hard for the dark elves to remove it until they get some more like witch elf levels or blitzer levels or something.
Yeah, I hate seeing loner rolls. Loner roll success 0, failure 1. I mean,
That hurts.
that's a dub skull being re-rolled and not re-rolling. Always stings.
Yeah, for the dark elves, that could potentially be the.
Have been the turnover. I mean, if you're carrying on a loner, things have already gone wrong. But
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Then we have Chaos Corp versus One Cheese. The Skavens pulling out another 3 touchdown victory.
Yeah, well, early chaos are kind of hard, especially since he couldn't really control how his SPP went in the first game because he didn't get any because he conceded or had to forfeit for whatever reason. So he's underleveled compared to the Skaven initially, and your early chaos. So early chaos is hard, but next season this could easily have gone the other way, right?
For sure.
Nico Ratton got 8 SPP. So it must have been a touchdown and the MVP, yeah, which is good. Got a runner levels. We'll see what
rookie
we got
Beastman
next.
MVP isn't ideal, obviously.
And he got 2 Kaz's so he got some SPP out of it, which is good.
Yeah, it's not too bad, really.
Not
I mean,
unexpected in terms of what the result would be, to be fair. But it's not bad. He got a touchdown out of it, and he got probably some Kaz somewhere.
I don't think he had any levels out of it. No, because 5, 2, and 3.
No,
but
but he got some SPP against a game that he was probably not going to win anyway.
Mm-hmm. And then it was Undead versus Pro Elves, and they won 2-0. That's
Is that Undead?
no,
That's
this is
Khemri.
Khemri. Oh, I forgot we even had a Khemri team. Must be a replacement then, because we didn't see them in the first round, did we? Oh, they might have had a bye week.
Khemri won 2-0 with 2 touchdowns, which is
Khemri won 2-0 versus Pro Elves. They must have outbashed them. Yeah, 15 armor breaks. Yeah, jeez.
3 success, 3 injuries, 2 KOs. 7. They got probably a level. Well, they definitely got a level out of it with the 7 SPP player, and then a skeleton is up to 8 now. So that's probably a dirty player.
Khemri do love to bash.
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
That might be one to go look at if we have time.
He had a fireball. He had a wizard, it looks like, because he rolled fireball rolls.
Yeah, only 3 though. And anyway,
I'm trying to find he passed 50% of his pickups, which is kind of exactly what you expect with Khemri. Although he only tried 4 times, and he succeeded twice, and those must have been touchdowns. So once he had it picked up, the elves just couldn't get it off them. So that's 1 score, and then potentially the elves dropping it somehow. They failed some dodges. They failed a loner roll. They didn't pass any of their wake ups after KOs, so losing 5 players, and then just having them out for the whole game. That is rough.
Just couldn't make anything happen. Maybe failed some really critical rolls. It happens.
Yeah, it happens. Unfortunately, just couldn't. The players couldn't wake up, and then the Khemri bashed you, and you were down players, and that made it hard to remove the ball from them, and they probably just were able to secure it with all their strength 5 and defend it from you for a while until they could manage to pick it up and then score number 2.
And then we have a 3-1 victory in the Wood Elves versus Undead.
That's again, another Mummy MVP.
Yeah, again for the Undead rather than the Wood Elves. Yeah, actually, this is the second leveled up Mummy, I think. I'll have to go look at that team. I bet it's getting really gross.
Yeah, with early Mummy levels, that's amazing.
Twilight Slaughter also looks like they got a level. I don't know what that is, but it got 6 XP.
The Catcher got MVP and leveled, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
3 KOs inflicted. 2 injuries inflicted for the Wood Elves, which is interesting.
I mean, the Wood Elves technically out-removed and out-bashed the Undead, which is kind of staggering.
Which is impressive, especially since the Undead won.
Yeah, decisively, even.
Yeah, that's interesting, because the Wood Elves did better at the Undead's game, and the Undead won anyway. Like, was he playing them too bashy and not enough elfy, maybe? I don't know. Didn't do any passing, really. It was only 4 yards.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't really know what was up.
Yeah, that's interesting. Although the Wood Elves had the Undead had the ball a lot longer than the Wood Elves did. Wood Elves couldn't get it off them, maybe, but they outbashed them a lot. But I guess it didn't make enough of a difference because I assume the mummies stayed on the field. The mummies in white. So if you're just removing skeletons or zombies, then that's fine. Really, like it's not going to affect how the mummies, but the undead play. Gods of
finally, we have
Commando Killers.
Yeah, 2-0 victory for the the lizards rather.
Playing against humans. The humans.
The humans got beaten up. 2 KOs, 3 injuries.
Yeah. No, 3 injuries inflicted.
Inflicted. Right. Never mind.
The lizards got beaten up by the humans.
But won decisively again. What are these games?
Lizards had the ball more often. They had more successful blocks. That's a good question.
Jeez, you made 12 successful bonehead rolls. That's pretty lucky.
The humans got a bunch of SPP though. I mean, a lot of casualties as you expected, but they managed to lose. I mean, so they just did. They knocked over some lizards. Probably some Saurus. Yeah, the MVP Saurus looks like he picked up a miss next game or a niggle. I'm not sure yet. So he managed to bash to remove some Saurus, but early on as humans, when you don't have tackle, the skinks probably were able to do some work, right? I don't know if this human team has catchers. We'll take a look in a second. I don't think they do, if I remember correctly.
I mean, take a look at the block dice for the humans if you want to see probably why the result of this match was as it was.
Oh, yeah.
More both downs than pushes. 3
more
defender
skulls,
doubles, 5 pows.
More skulls than pows and defender stumbles combined.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's not great, but they still managed to get injuries out of it, so that's probably why they lost, but or part of the reason why they lost, but they still got some SPP.
Yeah, I imagine they got some block hits with the blitzers on skinks maybe, and
one of them was on a Saurus for sure.
They took out a Saurus?
Yeah, well the Saurus, the MVP Saurus has an injury. So we'll look at that in a second, but I imagine the skinks managed to pick up the ball and just leave. The humans couldn't catch up, and then the Saurus were trying to tie up the humans, and the humans were just bashing and getting lucky with the injury rolls and stuff. But it's not going to win you the game. The Saurus are just tying up the humans, and while the skinks go score. I imagine that's probably what happened.
Yeah, that is their job after all. So let's start going through the teams.
Do you want to look at the leaderboard quick first?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
As expected, the Skaven are number 1 right now. We saw them win 2 games, 3 decisively. Khemri, Orcs, and the Undead are all top. So we've got one dash team amongst the 3 punchy teams.
Ultra bashes, yeah.
It's like the 3 bashiest teams in the division are top 4, right? Or 3 of the top 4 right now.
Yep.
What's the one bye week? The Chew Toys. That's the Necro team. And they drew week 1. So they'll go up to 1-1 and be tied for sort of the second place with the Wood Elves and the Lizards.
Yeah, exactly.
Elven Union is not doing that well, surprisingly, so far.
Yeah, and that's Lorcan Torkin from our college league. Rehab 79, I believe.
Oh yeah, and the
think it's
goblins are
Lorcan
also
Torkin.
not doing well, but that's not unexpected. Goblins aren't amazing early, or in general, but they're super fun.
Okay, so first up is Archangels. Archangels will. Pretty straightforward team conception there. He's got
I backed off. Hang on.
yeah.
I backed out by mistake.
He's got some famous elves in here. One of his war dancers is
There we
Driz
go.
the Word, so
Oh yes, Kylar is from.
he's got a-
Yeah, we talked about this before.
we did. We definitely. I was like, I feel like this conversation is very familiar.
But exactly like we were talking about earlier, before we looked up the teams, the lineman has gotten guard.
Lineman got guard. You got a strip ball war dancer. You got a sidestep war dancer. You got a plus movement catcher. Wow, that's ideal. And it's got another
and
level
it's got a
up
level
on it.
pending. Yeah.
That could be a natural one turner real soon.
This is a good. Well, because he's movement 9 in sprint, right?
He's already a natural one turner. If you get sure feet, he's a very reliable natural one turner. If he gets plus agility, like, good fucking luck.
Yeah, and the war dancer has strip ball, which is amazing for war dancers, and the other one has sidestep, so he's blodge step leap. He's going to be hard to remove, and the lineman has picked up guard, which is like the best skill for wood elf lineman ever. So
this
that's
is pretty much the ideal wood elf start, other than the wood elf in our Chaos Invitational, which rolled plus strength on one war dancer and plus agi on the other as his first levels.
Yeah, those are pretty good, but this is a good elf team so far. So expect Archangel to do well in next week, I would say. Bloodstain, coached by Gate Arius.
He's had a rough couple of first games.
Goblins. This next game,
goblins.
Goblin and a Niggled Goblin. Who cares? They're goblins.
I'd probably the Ningled Goblin has 5 SPP. That kind of stings.
They're goblins.
I'd probably
man.
fire him though.
The or just put him or he's your sacrifice goblin or whatever.
But I mean,
he's your Fowler goblin, right? Like having a bench is good with goblins.
Yeah, it's true. Use him as a Fowler. Fowler isn't
And
a bad call.
Yeah. Fnatic has got 5, so he's 1 casualty away from from leveling, which is not unreasonable with a ball and chain.
Yeah, and I mean, then you can get some really good development going, like we said. Grab, mighty blow, things like that. Block, plus movement if you're lucky.
Neither the Looney or the Pogor have picked up anything yet, sadly. One of the trolls has gotten 2 SVP, but nothing to really speak of yet.
Yeah, no, it's looking pretty decent. Now, you haven't imploded like some goblins do, so maybe he'll have better luck in the coming games.
Shuto is coached by Abnormal43. Let's see. Yeah, we've got the white that got the 10 SPP as we saw. He's picked up Mighty Blow, so that's your killer piece.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for the first one to get Mighty Blow.
Mighty Blow or Tackle is probably one of the 2 levels you take first.
Guard on whites is also really common. You need guard as necromantic. He's only got 1 flesh golem, which is a bit odd.
Maybe 1 died.
Maybe statistics. Let's look at it. 1 death sustained. He has probably paid the flesh golem tax, I should say.
Yeah, or
before he even got any spicy werewolf levels.
Yeah, no spicy werewolf levels yet. No werewolf levels at all. Just the
Looks
one.
like he got 1 touchdown on it. That's not bad. He's got a draw. He's only played 1 game, so I think he's a late joiner to the league. So
okay, so that's not bad.
Or is he getting the admin win this week?
No, that was.
No, that is him. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay, good.
Yeah. So.
There you go. So he's got. If he gets MVP or a touchdown on that werewolf, that'll be good. He can pick up something cool.
If he rolls really well on his winnings, he could pick up a new flesh golem, which would be really nice. Yeah,
you have to roll really well.
In a pretty good spot.
Yeah. But it's pretty good, especially since this is only 1 game worth of SPP, so that's really good. Noting that, minus the dead flesh golem, but.
I don't know if REBBL does double winnings on concede weeks. You might get double winnings. If so, he wouldn't have to roll well at all to get.
That's true.
Golem, but.
I'm not sure if it does or not. Does not Naka is coached by Hogstench.
Hogstench is quite the coach name.
Yeah.
He's won both of his games quite decisively, as we saw. He's got a tackle blitzer and a mighty blow blitzer.
Perfect.
Good pieces to have in this league because there's a lot of dodge. So
yeah, tackle to go after those skinks and elves, and then mighty blow block to be your your blitz a turn unless you really need to knock over that dodge piece. And there you go. Remove some people. Probably get like piling on.
yeah, he hasn't done well at all with the Black Orc levels early on, which is a little unfortunate.
That's not unexpected. It's really hard to level Black Orcs unless they get MVPs.
Yeah, and Orc blitzers are really the champions. So
absolutely.
So really solid development so far.
Good start.
Really want to prioritize getting some Black Orc SPP, but
yeah, the tackle blitzer is either one Kaz or one touchdown from level 3.
He'll get it real fast, and I imagine it's going to be another mighty blow.
Yeah, here's the Skaven team that scored 6 touchdowns in 2 games.
I want to see what kind of development they got going on.
It's been spread out. So they've got mostly for the 2 gutter runners, because they haven't...
Yeah, a block gutter, that makes sense. A wrestle gutter, also perfectly standard.
Yep.
No storm vermin levels, that's a little unfortunate.
One of them is 1 Kaz away from it, so that's good. He's close to getting mighty blow or claw if he's lucky. The 1 gutter runner to like pick up the ball and be mostly safe with it, and then the 1 gutter runner to just like run a million miles and wrestle the ball off of people is also good. Third one is close as a touchdown away from level, so I imagine he'll try to focus on that his next game. It's just getting 1 on Rat Burglar Nemi.
Yeah, exactly. Just like trying to get as much development going as you can.
Only 1 touchdown or something on the line rat, which is good because the line rats, and who cares? All the SPP has gone to the important SPP has gone to the gutter runners and the storm vermin.
Yeah, and the storm vermin will start leveling up as time goes on. I mean,
like 1 more
they're
game.
pretty easy to level.
Oh, for sure. Like 1 more game, and he's likely to have, I'd say, like probably get 1 on Rat Burglar Nemi, and it's not out of the realm of possibility to get another 1 on Nico Ratton. 11 of 16, either an MVP or like 2 touchdowns.
Pretty good rat start. I mean, to have gone through 2 games and still have a team, an 11-man roster, and 150k money and 3 rerolls and an Apo. It's pretty surprising.
Good start. What has he played so far? I don't remember.
It was Goblins and someone he beat 3-1. I think it was Chaos?
Goblins in the early Chaos, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you'd very much expect rats to walk all over both of those teams, but
maybe not as unscathed as they have been.
Yeah, exactly.
But they still have the Necro and the Undead to come up against, which might do a bit more work.
Yeah, and next up is the Irish Monks, Lorcan Torkin's team, REBBL graduate like ourselves, moved on up to the big leagues while we're still in the minors. Had a bit rough go early on with 2 losses, but
nothing.
And
Moving
no
on.
Development.
Just kidding.
There's not a lot to say.
No, he doesn't have any levels.
Close to 3 levels.
Yeah, but close to a couple. 2 of them are on linemen, unfortunately. Although the good thing about pro elf linemen is that they're kind of cheap compared to other elf linemen. They're only 60k, like wood elf linemen are 70k, and I think so are high elf and dark elf linemen.
I was looking earlier today at the Excessively Elfy League video, and the most interesting teams were the Elven Union teams, including one that was I think it was Gengar's, is entirely linemen, with ridiculous skills because you can put so many skills on them for 1500 SPP.
Yeah, and for 60k, like they're cheap compared to other elves.
Exactly.
So it's unfortunate that 2 of the MVPs are there because they're mostly expendable, rather than getting them on your blitzers where you really want the SPP, and there's none there. The thrower is 5, so he's a little bit closer to being able to be a little more reliable. You know, maybe if he gets Agi, that'd be amazing, or like dodge, or sure hands, nerves of steel, like anything that would be easier to make him like run into, pick up the ball where it's not really supposed to be pick upable, and then hurl it down the field to someone else would be amazing. And he's only 1 SPP from that, so that's pretty close. 2 rerolls, maybe he wants to get a 3rd one, but he can't afford it yet.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta prioritize getting the Apo on pro elves because of how expensive the positionals are relative to the linemen. So
we have CR Boys Giant Stags, coached by CR Boys.
Yeah, I've seen him around. He's only got one war dancer. Oh, no, two.
But he has an agi catcher.
He does.
That's really
Plus
good.
agi catcher. That's
an agi 5 dodge catch movement 8 player with sprint is amazing. That's really good.
Yeah, and I mean you can even build him into a bit of a ball sacker. If you get strip ball, wrestle, things like that, you can even on red dice you can take out the ball most of the time. And agi 5 you can cage dive like it's not even there. So
I mean it's probably easier to cage dive with the leap war dancer with strip ball.
It's true, but I mean you saw sometimes you need both. I mean Squiggy's team had both Yacind and I forget who the catcher was named after, but the catcher was also a ball sacker, which I'm going to keep saying because it bothers you.
It really does. You could say sacker or ball hawk or like safety, whatever. Yeah, that catcher is good though. I mean, that's going to be really easy to pass the ball to and score with catch and agi 5 dodge. If you pick up like Nerves of Steel or something, you'll be able to catch that ball anywhere and then just leave. Like it's so easy to score with that catcher. So that catcher will be really good, I think. And strip ball war dancer is amazing. Like that's now you can play Wood Elves like Wood Elves, where the other team tries to cage up, you leap the war dancer into the cage, strip ball him, pick it up, throw it to someone else, leave. Like you just can't cage against that anymore. And it really sucks if you're not if you're the team the Wood Elves are playing.
True enough.
Commando Kill is coached by Vulpes and Kulta, or Vulpes and Kulta. Lizards.
A mighty blow as the first level Onosaurus.
That's surprising.
That's spicy.
Ooh.
It's a little unexpected.
It's going to accelerate his leveling probably, although he's not going to be as consistent early.
No, definitely not going to accelerate his winning, but it's
what we talked about earlier with the chaos, right? Like he's going with the I'm going to hope I get a little bit lucky when it comes to wins and just going to go for the player development as fast as I can. Strategy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even uncommon to pick up Mighty Blow as the first level on a Saurus, just not usually your first Saurus. The issue I have with it is that lizards aren't chaos. Like lizards early on are fine because they can control a lot better than chaos can. So I like block, but I am a notoriously safe player. So if he's making it work, then more power to him.
Yeah, I mean it's just a different way of doing it, I think, and it's just the slightly more risky. I care a little bit less about ensuring I win games and a little bit more about developing my players early on. You can still win. Remember, Skinks and Saurus are good enough to win. It's just easier when you have block probably. But he'll be able to level quickly and then get block right afterwards. So. Gods of Metal, McSkippy 454. Here are the humans. That picked up accurate on Dave Mustaine the thrower, so he's going, and he has 2 catchers, so he's going with the human throwing game. He's not going with the runners. He's pretending he's elves.
I love pretending I'm an elf.
Well, he's got sure hands, pass, and accurate, which is super good for throwing. Then those catchers are catch, right? Like it's right out of the box, fairly easy way to start. If you could, pick up some plus agi on those catchers or the thrower, maybe get diving catch or a Nerves of Steel or something so you can catch it in tackle zones, and you can do a lot more elfy-esque things. No levels in the blitzers or the ogres yet. One of the blitzers is almost there. So that's good.
Some decent early development. He's got a bench. He's doing okay.
He only has 2 rerolls. But
he's got 160k, so I suspect he'll buy another one.
Maybe, but I was going to say if you're relying on the passing game, your thrower is sure hands and pass, and your catches are catch. So like all of the actions involved in picking up the ball and throwing it have built-in rerolls already. So you don't, if that's how you're relying on playing and winning your games, you don't necessarily need the rerolls, and you can keep your TV down a little bit. But you probably want to dump that 10k at least to not have the 10k bloat.
Yeah, for sure.
3 rerolls isn't bad, and it's probably good, even, especially if you're going to, depending on how you're playing. But I'm just saying, like, you don't necessarily need it if you're going to play the game this way. And you can keep your TV down a little bit if you're going to rely on the passing game, because it's already built in for those players.
Yeah, it makes some amount of sense. can honestly say I've never played the humans passing game. So
I've played humans, but I generally don't play them as passers. So
I forgot how ugly the human models were because I also don't look at those very often. I've been admiring.
The ogres are beautiful, man.
The ogre is lovely, but everyone else is fugly as fuck.
Okay, Friendship is Massacre, Captain Bubsy. This is the mummy or the undead team. It's been doing really well, and they got to mummy levels like after 2 games. One of them has picked up guard, which is amazing. Super standard because they start with Mighty Blow. If you don't roll doubles, your first level is going to be either break tackle or guard, and guard makes more sense because you're movement 3. Speaking of movement 3,
movement 4 mummy. That's a Tomb Guardian without decay.
Plus Mighty Blow.
Plus Mighty Blow. True.
Yeah, that's also really good.
Now plus Agi Ghoul, amazing.
Yeah, the plus movement is a little more significant because it's 3 movement to stand up, right? So that's
now you get the extra move. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, being able to even just a little bit of extra positioning. Movement 4 is so much better than movement 3, right? Like it's not just one movement really. Like I mean it is, but it's better than going from like movement 6 to
no, I get you. It's not quite as good as movement 2 to movement 3, but it's still pretty excellent. That extra movement, like you said, after you stand up from being knocked over, is really crucial for getting your mummy back in the action.
Yeah, if you're willing to roll GFIs, that's potentially 3 movement after standing up, as opposed to
because a lot of the times what'll happen with these slow pieces is someone will walk up, someone will punch you over with a concerted effort, and then if they can knock you away and knock you down and then scatter, they've now effectively stunned you because your player is out of the game while he stands up and then walks over to you. So this really helps mitigate that factor a little bit.
Yeah, that's super good.
Get that player back in the piece, or get back in the action.
Also, things that are super good, as you mentioned, Agi 4 Ghoul.
Yeah, disgusting. Protect that ghoul because God knows it's got a target on its head.
Yeah, he's only 4 SPP away from getting block, presumably, to keep it alive a little bit easier.
Look, I had a blodge strength 4 ghoul, and he still died to a 1-die pal.
Yeah, it's not only just good for the fact that you're now dodging on a 2+ with the reroll, but you're also picking up the ball more on a 2+ when you don't have sure hands. Yeah, that's super good. That's your ball carrier, and you're going to want to get him like sure hands and block and that kind of good stuff. And dear God, keep him alive. 1 fouling skeleton, nothing there. Bunch of line meat zombies, nothing there. Some ghouls that don't have anything yet. 3 rerolls, nothing he needs to spend his money on to replace. Been doing really well so far. Like the only criticism I could say, I guess, is that the whites don't have any SPP left or SPP yet. But who cares when the mummies have it? Right?
Yeah, it's unusual though. Like whites are normally the stars of the team. I mean, they're the block pieces. They're the ones doing all the blitzing usually. But yeah, the mummies have been, kicking ass, taking names.
So like, it'd be better to have some more SPP on the whites, but it's even better than that to just have 2 levels on 2 mummies after 2 games. So I can't really criticize anything here. That's just really good.
I'm a bit surprised to see 3 ghouls. I would think 2, especially at this point when you really want to get levels on the whites. Picking up that many players and that much of a bench.
He's also won games and hasn't really taken any casualties yet. Maybe he just wanted to dump some money.
Yeah, but the issue is like he's got a huge bench against a bunch of elven teams mostly. I'm surprised that he hasn't gone for more of a conventional 12-man.
You can always
setup.
fire a zombie.
Yeah, I guess it's just I'm surprised to see 3 ghouls this early on, but who knows? It's clearly working for him.
Yeah, we have the Nagarond Nut Punchers, Dark Elves, coached by Squids or Squid 5. At G5 Witch, that's good.
Yep.
That's really good. Okay. Not much else to say there.
I would be surprised to see, block probably because you really need block on the Witch Elf, but then maybe leap or something to that effect.
Some unfortunate things here in that lineman is Agi busted, so that's a 70k human now.
He's fired 100%.
I mean, I would fire him and take the loner over the Agi 3 one.
Oh God, every day.
He also has the movement 5 lineman who...
Movement 5 sucks, but it's not I wouldn't fire that one, at least not until I could replace him. It looks like he
Yeah.
lost a blitzer
Uh,
because he's only got 2, and there's no start that I know of that only. Don't you use 3 blitzers with the Witch Elf? Yeah, you do.
so he must have lost a blitzer, which is sad.
Yeah, he had 2 losses, so he must have had some pretty rough games.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's got 1 lineman with wrestle, which is good. It's one of the there's 3 legitimate sort of starting skill, or you take wrestle, you take dodge, you take block, or you take kick. It's like your first sort of
He
lineman
sustained
levels.
0 deaths. Maybe the
Could have been a
the
bad
blitzer
injury
got
that he fired.
injury.
They fired him for.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but one of the blitzers is 1 SPP from leveling, which is good. I'd focus on trying to get that next game. The Agi 5 Witch Elf is going to do you a lot of work, but he is in a bit of a rough spot here. He doesn't have a ton of money, and he's got 2 players he wants to replace, but he also needs to pick up a blitzer and probably an Apo and a reroll.
Jeez, not the Dark Elf start you want.
No,
sure.
it hasn't started too well for Squids yet. However, the Agi 5 Witch Elf makes up for it a little bit. That's a really good player, a really good start.
Yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a it's now
It's a
just
mixed bag.
extra vulnerable right now because with Witch Elves the idea is get 2 touchdowns immediately, get block, because otherwise that Witch Elf is just gonna die. But it's hard to say no to plus Agi on a Witch Elf,
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I feel like he just got a little unlucky in his first couple games with injuries and stuff, and that's the way Blood Bowl goes sometimes.
Exactly. As a side note, on the next Khemri team, I don't know if it's like this on your screen, but on mine, one of the Tomb Guardians is very clearly clipping through the flags.
He's behind the flag, and his arms are through the spear thing. Yeah.
Excellent. It kind of looks like he's holding it, which I thought was intentional originally, but nope.
Nope.
Just cyanide.
3 rerolls. He's got 2 throw raws, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's a little unusual.
Some people go for 0. Some people just go for 1. The downside is that 1 throw raw. One of the throw raws is going to get all your SPP and all the touchdowns, because only one of them can really pick it up, and you don't really want to be passing it or handing it off with Agi 2 if you can avoid it.
Yeah,
so one of those throw raws is going to get a lot of SPP, and the other one is just going to be kind of a worse blitz raw.
Yeah. He's got no SPP other than, he's got 2 SPP, I should say, on all of the Tomb Guardians.
Non-ideal, but it's hard, right? Without Mighty Blow, it's hard to get those initial casualties. It's really hard to get touchdowns on them. You need to kind of rely on the MVPs, and they look like they've gone to skeletons, sadly.
Yep, so he's got a skeleton with Dirty Player. He's got a Blitz Raw with Mighty Blow. That's really nice.
That is really nice.
A kill piece already. Yeah, I mean, not a lot of development to speak of.
That'll accelerate the Blitz Raw leveling a bit too, which is good.
Oh, for sure.
You can pick up tackle or something, or if he wants to,
piling on.
And the Dirty Player skeleton is great,
I guess.
Especially with a roster, right? Skeletons are worthless, and you have so many of them. Your players are expendable. Skeleton fouling,
all day or day.
Yeah. Khemri skeleton levels are did you get plus Agi? No. Okay, we'll take Dirty Player. And then if he levels again, do you have another Dirty Player skeleton yet? Yes. Okay, fire the first one. Right,
exactly.
The only level that matters on skeletons, at least in my opinion, is Dirty Player. You could get wrestle maybe, or you could get guard, doubles. But if you didn't get doubles, I would just fire a level 2 or level 3 skeleton. It's bloat you don't need, and all they're good for is line meat and fouling.
Yep.
So that's good.
I'll be right back.
Sure. Good levels on the pieces that have leveled. I think the 2 throw raws might be a bit of an issue down the line, because you're gonna get all the SPP probably just on one over the other, and the other one is just gonna end up being a worse blitz raw. But it is another movement 6 piece, which can be good when most of your team is really slow. So I see the appeal to it. I wouldn't necessarily do it myself, though. I think so. If it's working, it's working, sure. But that's the only criticism I think I'd have, and everything else looks good. It's just unfortunate that you haven't gotten any Tomb Guardian levels. Not really a whole lot you can do to control that. You've got to hope you get MVP or some casualties, because without Mighty Blow or block early, it's hard to get those Kaz. With Agi 1, it's hard to get touchdowns. So what are you gonna do? At least Renenet Nefertra Inar Nef. Oh geez, that's hard to say. Is an MVP away from leveling. So if you're lucky, you got that going for you. And your 2 wins and 0 losses, 0 ties. So it's obviously working. So don't take anything that I say as gospel, because clearly you're doing better. Let's see. I think that's all the teams we have to look at, because these are all... those are bye weeks. This one isn't a bye week as far as I can tell. So we have the Chaos Corp, coached by Chili Pot. I think he just had to concede or forfeit his first game. Missed next game Beastmen, as we saw. 3 Chaos Warriors and a Minotaur. Unconventional. Not everybody takes the Minotaur, but you can. Minotaur is definitely better than the Chaos Dwarf Minotaur, for example, because you can get mutations on not doubles if you'd like. Although he's got no SPP yet on him. Only 2 on the Chaos Warriors, but it's the same thing as we just talked about the Khemri. It's hard to get it without block or mighty blow early. You're not going to get it really from Kaz's. It's a bit easier for them to score because they are edgy 3, so you can ball carry on them if you want. It's essentially the same as doing it on a Beastman, other than the
slower
minus
though.
movement.
Yeah, you feel the minus movement for sure.
Yep, but it's a little bit easier to potentially level them if you try to go that way.
I mean, it's easier than a Sora standoff, that's for sure.
Yep, and this Beastman looks like it got MVP, and this one is missed next game, so no levels to speak of, but this is only 1 game, basically, because the first game he wouldn't have gotten SPP from because it was a concede. Whether that's real-life things or because he is a replacement and missed the first week, I'm not sure, but it's just 1
I think
game.
it was a real concede, because if it was a replacement, you wouldn't have seen him in week 1. He just wouldn't have been featured.
Oh, true. So... yeah, no real levels to talk about or anything. 2 rerolls. You'll want to get that 4th Chaos Warrior as soon as you can, and then a 3rd reroll and an Apo. Apo is probably first, but you don't have the money to do that right now. I'd say Apo, and then probably the 4th Chaos Warrior, and then a reroll when you get the money for it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, I think.
1 more game, hopefully you'll have an Apo if you don't lose an important player. Okay, so let's take a look at the schedule real quick for week 3. Bloodstain versus Friendship is Massacre. So that's the goblins and the undead. I think I just have to give that one to the undead. We've seen how well they've been doing.
And I mean, they've got the kill skills to really put the goblins in the dirt. Yeah, it's going to be a real tough game. Yes, you did, Monty's Little Tosser.
You did, but this will go up on it'll go up on YouTube at some point, probably tomorrow. I don't think I'll edit it and put it up today. Let's see. So next is Gods of Metal and Broken Boys. Gods of Metal are the human team, and Broken Boys were what? Why don't I remember? Oh, they're the Khemri. So this is passing humans versus Khemri that don't have a lot of development yet.
The Khemri are doing. Oh, right, because they've got a lot of their levels are in skeletons, though.
Well, they have the Mighty Blow Blitzer. They have a Dirty Player Skeleton, and they have nothing on the Tomb Guardians yet. The humans don't have anything on their Blitzers, as far as I know. Yeah, it's just the 1 thrower, but that thrower is good at throwing now. It's very much this sort of plays to the human strengths in that you get to play Elfie teams against slow teams, and then you get to play Bash teams against Elfie teams. And Khemri are the slowest of slow, and you are already designed around passing. So I think I would give this to the Gods of Metal, but if the Khemri get a few key removals, it could easily go in their favor really quickly.
Yeah, if the Mighty Blow Blitzraw does work and can avoid getting pasted himself, this could easily turn into the Khemri favor. It's going to be an interesting match. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah,
so,
I'd give it to humans under average dice roll circumstances. If the Khemri get a good removal or a lucky turn or something, then it could swing very quickly. But if nothing goes weird, I think I'd give it to the humans.
Next up is the Komodo Killas, which are lizards, effectively rookie lizards, except for the Mighty Blowsaurus.
Against the rookie Chaos.
Yeah, this should go lizards all day, every day.
I would probably say so. The Chaos don't have the development yet. They're down even more strength than normal because they don't have the 4th Chaos Warrior yet.
Yeah, they've got a Minotaur, which is a fairly unreliable punching piece. So you're playing as kind of a control. You're playing as a kind of a control-y setup early on as Chaos, and Lizards are just better at control than you are.
Yep,
Rookie.
and
So
they do have the Mighty Blowsaurus, which when neither team has block is not as bad as it could be against other teams.
yeah, I mean, if you're making that blitz, if it's a non-critical blitz, you'd even consider taking both downs just to bust up some more Beastmen, because you're gonna break armor
Makes
pretty
the
often
Beastman
on
armor 7
8.
and makes the Chaos armor 8. Or
I mean, it makes the Minotaur armor 7, which is the scariest part of a Minotaur, really.
That's true. Giant Stags and the Nut Punchers. So that's the Wood Elves, the second Wood Elf team, and the Dark Elves. So this is the Wood Elf team that has the Agi 5 Catcher and the Strip Ball War Dancer.
Yeah.
And the Dark Elf team that is
taking a bit of a beating.
Taking a bit of a beating, yeah. Battle of Agi 5 in the Witch Elf versus the Catcher. I just think the Catcher will do its job better than the Witch Elf will.
Yeah, and I mean also the Wood Elves have Strip Ball.
And there's no sure hands.
So that's a lost ball anytime the War Dancers get close, and it's not like the Dark Elves are going to be caging very much anyway. So
yeah, the only thing they've got really is the Wrestle lineman, but that doesn't help against Strip Ball. But it's a way of removing it from the Wood Elves.
Yeah, and down blitzers, they're even like less block than
a normal Dark Elf team would be.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so the Wood Elves they're matched for a block. So I'd say the Wood Elves I'd favor in this case.
Yeah, not for now, right? Like in 2 games or so, once the Nagaron Nut Punchers get their players back and maybe pick up that Apo and the blitzer that is gone, it might be a different story. But for now, just because of their first few games and how they've gone, I think they're just at it's less so that the Giant Stags are at a big advantage and more that the Nut Punchers are at a bit of a disadvantage because of their down players.
Yeah, and I mean, Wood Elves are scary teams early on, and especially after they get a level or 2 on the War Dancers, that's really when they hit like peak Elven bullshit levels.
Next one is a bye week. This one is one to watch if we can. One Cheese and Archangel's Will. That's the Wood Elf team that's done really well, and the Skaven team that's done really well.
Yeah, I mean, those are the...
It's like the one-turner catcher versus the Skaven team that has been playing amazingly, apparently, because they've won both of their games 3-1.
Predicting it now, 4-3 for the...
for the Wood Elves, just gave it.
It's going to be pretty serious.
I have no idea. Like, I honestly don't know who to give this to. The Wood Elves have Strip Ball, and they already have a one-turner. The Skaven don't yet, but they do have They have Wrestle and they have Block on their Gutter Runner. What are the TV differences like? So the Skaven are going to get some inducements.
Are you doing your Blades in the Dark next week?
On Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was going to say they're playing next Tuesday at 7 EST, apparently. So.
I don't think I'll be able to cover it live, but
Maybe we'll cast the replay, yeah.
Yeah, we could cast the replay like an hour after they finish it, probably.
Yeah, let me know if it's a particularly juicy game, and we'll definitely.
Yeah, because that could be interesting. So the Wood Elves still have a level pending, so that's potentially another.
Oh, and it's on the one-turner catcher, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's another potential 20K or 30 or whatever they roll, but let's just assume 20K for now.
I would imagine it's Sure Feet or plus Agi. Like, those are the only things I consider take. I mean, maybe even if you got another plus movement, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I'm just like, on average, it's probably just another 20K TV. I'm just trying to think about the TVs here.
Oh, you're trying to think of inducements, yeah.
Yeah, so they'd be at 1150 most likely, and then...
So you're giving 90K to the Skaven, yeah.
Yeah, which is not an enormous amount.
The Skaven do have money to burn, I think, so they'll probably consider...
They're
they're
at 150.
Going a wizard.
They're at 150 exactly.
Yeah, so they've got money. They've got money in the bank, which you want as Skaven, because God knows you might
yeah, that
explode.
could be really interesting. I'm not sure who I'd give it to. If that Storm Vermin had leveled and had like Mighty Blow, I think I might give it to the Skaven. But as of now, I think I want to give it to the Wood Elves, but it's gonna be close, right?
It's gonna be a game of nonsense on both sides.
I feel like this is gonna be like 3-2 or 4-3 or something really dumb. Like that and it's going to be close either way, and just one speed team is going to slightly outspeed the other, whether it be from like one lucky turn or one unlucky turn or something like that. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Rex Longbone. I would try to score with the Gut Armors too, or the Storm Vermin. I mean.
I mean, especially when you're up 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, when you're already winning by that much, who cares if you don't score the 4th one or 5th one or whatever, right?
Well, I mean, he cares because he doesn't have Mighty Blow now, but
I mean, it's better to try and score on somebody that you'd like to level than it is to get an extra touchdown on somebody you don't really care as much about.
Yeah, for sure.
Is what I'm getting at here. Anyway, moving on. Broken Boys and the Irish Monks. So that's the Elven Union and the Khemri.
Wait, what are you looking at?
Oh, I was looking at the wrong week.
I know, you're looking at wrong week.
I was
the last is Desnotnakas and the Chew Toys.
Yep.
So
that's the Necromantic and the Orc. So
Hogstench has been doing really, really well.
Yeah. And the only thing to say for the Necros so far is that they have a Mighty Blow White. But against Armor 9, that's basically just Armor 8, which is pretty reliable as it is. So, and the one Orc has block tackle against those ghouls.
There's no ghouls for the Chew Toys. You're thinking of the.
I was thinking of the undead team.
So there's nothing. The tackle's not going to do any work. The biggest problem that the Necromantic are going to have is that they don't have block on these werewolves. So werewolf blitzes on Armor 9 are really, really juicy, but they're really unreliable as well. Like that 1 in 9 on a frenzy is
and the
scary.
only players he has to hit easily are Lion Orcs, because the Black Orcs are strength 4, so that's uphill, and the Blitzers have blocks, so that's not reliable. So it's only 3 linemen, and they're likely to be on the line of scrimmage anyway, and if you're blitzing like the line of scrimmage, you're probably not doing it right. So the werewolves, I don't think are later. If there's more development, I think I would give it to Necro because of those werewolves. But as of now, the more block, the Armor 9, the more strength, I think is gonna overpower what the Necro have so far. Like Mighty Blow on Armor 8 is better than Mighty Blow on Armor 9.
Your mic just cut out a bit, but
Did it?
I get what you were going. You were going with I agree. Like before, and especially before you get the block on the werewolves, they're just kind of a huge liability. And he's got to be running the ball with the werewolves as well because
he doesn't.
I mean, he could run it with his white, I guess. They're both Agi 3, but you really want the plus movement, so +2 movement.
Yeah. The only thing that you probably missed was me saying that Mighty Blow on Armor 8 is better than Mighty Blow on Armor 9, right? Because the Necro only have like a Mighty Blow, and the Orcs only really have a Mighty Blow, but the Orcs are Armor 9 and the Necro are Armor 8.
Exactly.
So I think I'm going to give that.
Showing off your math degree right there.
Sure am. 9 is bigger than 8. So I think I'm going to go with the Orcs for that one. Yeah. So next week, if things go the way that I think they probably will, we're likely to have Rex Longbone and Hogstench tied for first with 3 wins.
Yeah, I mean, but always this is just like our, spit shooting.
Yeah, I mean, none of these are set in stone predictions.
Go out and make us all wrong because that's more fun. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good games, guys.
So is there anything else we want to touch on about?
Nope. Just to remind people again, send us your game time, send us your highlights, send us games you think were interesting. Anything you can do to help us out, make content. We're happy to do it for you guys, but we kind of need heads up.
Honestly, I'm not going to go through 28 games every week, one by one, to check if there was anything super cool in them on my own. I have other things I have to do with my life.
And y'all are some chatty motherfuckers in the REL discussion list. Every time I click on it, it's just like there have been 50+ new messages since the last 20 minutes you've looked at this.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. So if you play something cool, if there's a cool play, or there was a super unlucky play or something, feel free to message either me or Shadorra on Discord, and we can probably include it for next week. So once again, I'm going to apologize for doing 2 weeks and making this one kind of really long, but I was out of the country last week, so I couldn't do one last week. Going forward, we'll be doing one basically every week unless something weird happens again.
And the only other thing I wanted to add is I'm helping to organize the REBBL mentor league, and we're currently in our first round of signups and pairings. So if you think you want to mentor some poor young rookie with your knowledge, there are links in the announcements for REBRL and REBBL for the sheet. Come sign up and teach some kids how to play and introduce them to the community. It's like a really good program. So
yep. Okay, so some shameless self-promotion. I am likely to be playing. I stream most of my games. I don't really stream Shadorra's always. It's kind of weird to stream someone else's game if their opponent doesn't really know about it. But I stream all mine. My next one is likely to be tomorrow, sometime between 10 p.m. UTC and like 2, or not tomorrow, sorry, Friday. 10 p.m. UTC and like 2 or 3 a.m. Saturday UTC. It'll be me playing some orcs against Wood Elves. Is the next match I'm likely going to be streaming. And then,
you're playing Monkey Chunks, aren't you?
I sure am.
You're going to get thumped.
I am. And then my Miners game will be sometime next week. That hasn't been scheduled yet, so I don't know. But if you want to check those out and see me playing stuff, feel free to press follow or come back. I generally always announce when I'm going live on the REBRL Discords too, so you can always pay attention to that.